My name is Allison Girvan, and I think what best describes the work that I do, or what I've come to just in the last couple of months, is thinking of myself as a community music practitioner. We are here in what's colonially known as Nelson, British Columbia. This is the traditional territories of the Sinixt people. I've lived here for now 26 years, so I feel very much embedded in the community here. Within this community, I have organized children's choirs. So there were 5 community choirs starting at age 3 and going up to age 18, and then an additional group for 18 and older. I direct a group called Fireworks Choir, which is a group that has met 3 times now over the last 5 years, that includes as many people that would like to come and sing together in the community as possible. The first time we did fireworks, there were 420 participants. I don't know how many audience came to witness that, but it was significant. It was huge. The second time was similar, and then of course the pandemic happened and group singing was just not possible. This iteration saw 250, which I thought was really amazing for the first time back after the pandemic, and it was really a beautiful thing. Here's balls.
I've sung in a choir. We have about 45, 50 people, right? This is 200 people. It's an entirely different feeling when you're singing with that many people. The energy is totally different.
Our culture is so individualistic, and the times that we do collectivist kinds of things, they're usually competitive, and we're just coming together to create.
Lalin was a group that grew out of the children's choir, the youth choir program, because there were singers in the teen group that just hung on and didn't leave, and I felt like they needed a place to stretch out a little bit. And I didn't want to lose them from the teen group either, because they were such beautiful mentors. A lot of the work that I do involves having older members in with younger members to create this mentorship sort of model. So they were valuable in the teen group, however they needed something of their own, so we created the group Lalin, and that just gave them a place to dig in and do some more difficult, more challenging repertoire. There's something about a group singing experience being so much greater than the sum of its parts that I just love. And so saying all those things, really what I'm acknowledging is that music is the metaphor for community building. It's the vehicle. But I think that often there's a perception that if you're operating in a way that feels like it's valuing community at its core, and music is on top of that group is not capable of as much musical success. So my question, what I'm super curious about, is how can we achieve musical excellence without a lot of those factors? How can we grow community, and what are the impacts of creating trust and nurturing a sense of joy and fun? Certainly my experience has been that if you nurture an environment of trust, that the music improves. That by doing things like eating together, by going overnight someplace together, regardless of whether you sing together, the music changes after that time in a very profound way.
Especially when you're doing group singing, that automatically opens you up to making new friends, meeting new people. You know, you have a conversation in between songs about, I'm doing this thing in school, and you're given encouragement. They're like, oh, you'll totally ace that test. Don't worry about it. Can you help me find this note? It's so woven with community. I don't think that you can really pull community out of music.
Something that I'm also really clear about is in the presentation, that feeling that the choir is one half of a circle. And so in that moment of sharing with people who are witnessing, that's when the true and final community happens, when there is an energy exchange, when the circle is complete with an audience forming half of it and the choir forming the other half. And then when the audience leaves, it's the same thing. They've experienced something which shows this beautiful illustration of community. My pull has always been to global music. As somebody who has mixed heritage, I have spent my life sort of searching for a place that I belong, and certainly it's given me a lens that means that I'm always looking at the ways that we share the human experience. When I'm approaching repertoire, it has always been from that viewpoint. For me, that's a way into another culture's music that feels like it's based in integrity rather than claiming some other culture. It's about how do these words resonate for me. In those moments where the choir is singing these other repertoires, we talk a lot about what the words mean, and how universal a lot of these themes are about love, about loss, about home. So it helps the singers to kind of stand over their center and be able to feel like they are able to sing from their hearts, even though it's not their first language. I'm very careful, number one, to make sure it's not from a culture whose relationship with music dictates that it's an owned thing, so indigenous cultures where a music is actually belongs to somebody, not a group, and you need to be gifted, as well as groups that are oppressed and are trying themselves to reclaim their own music before it's shared with others. I'm very careful to talk to as many people from that culture as possible to get as many different views as possible. And then I figure, in this case, it's better to ask for forgiveness if something should happen than to be afraid and not enter into something where you are able to experience somebody else's language in your mouth. I think that that's hugely valuable. I think that as soon as you start hearing yourself make different sounds, it creates an empathy and also reduces that wall of fear when you hear something that is unfamiliar. I think if a rehearsal goes by where the group hasn't laughed, for me that feels like something's missing. And it's not something that I think it's necessary to set out to do. It will happen naturally. You just have to be willing to go with it. And it might not be the best time either. You might be really wanting to get something accomplished, but the group might have other ideas at that moment, and there's value in that as well. All of us are not going to be feeling the same way at any one time ever, so that when somebody needs to express themselves, in a sorrowful way or in a silly way, that might be what they need to do at that time, and you just trust that that's what needs to happen then. If the singers have trust between themselves and you allow them to trust you as well, it means that when you as a facilitator make a mistake, which inevitably is going to happen, there's forgiveness that direction as well. And it's a beautiful thing to stand up and feel that grace of trust from the singers in front of you.
She embodies what she wants the group to be. She's like the spark that just ignites everyone else's kindness and everyone else's joy and everyone else's care and compassion and acceptance.
My favorite thing about working with her, though, is the confidence she gives you. You know, she's going to support you. And if you mess up, she says, sing it louder, you know, like embrace the fact that you're messing up. And there's no real mistakes in music. Like, you can fix them later on, you know, it's all part of it. And that's definitely my favorite part, is just how much she encourages you to make mistakes and just be yourself.
The role of conductor is oftentimes perceived as you making the music. Rather, I think the word conductor needs to be thought of as in electricity, that it's moving through you. So the idea of conducting something is like you're taking the energy and allowing it to pass through you. So it becomes a very easy and selfless way to stand in front of a group with a bit of a checked ego, to think that your role is to allow things to pass through you and to reflect back.
For us to be part of something that is, like, you know, really, really beautiful, we also have to have a conductor who has incredible musicality. I think she really knows what's important, and especially in community singing, what to let go of.
She is the epitome of grace under pressure pretty much all the time. Like, even when she says she's getting flopped, it doesn't, you just don't feel that. You don't feel any angst or anger or anything like that, or just always, she's always able to just roll with it.
There's a certain spontaneity, there's a lot of responsiveness, and also just love. She's so lovely, and people feel that it comes from her, and she genuinely loves each and every singer.
Every single thing that you might say about how to develop beautiful music, you could take music out and substitute human beings and it would be exactly the same. There are other ways to go about this work. It's what I'm trained to do, the music, but what I feel compelled to do is to use it to illustrate community and what that feels like.